Plaintiff against defendant, Marcus Tell, Farrell, Lovett, Fuller, 14674A. It's just an name file. You call in, you need somebody over there. Beth, so I don't think Beth is in here. Your name?
Mark's still very good. Rob's full.
McNally Carmen, be 73824 without the pending hearing.
Okay. You handed up your appearance.
I did.
Richard put that too.
He left it down here, Judge.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, Mr. Kerman, just give me 1 second. Your client is charged with violation of probation. He has one prior technical violation. And this is essentially 7 more. Failure to refrain from consuming alcohol, failure to submit to soberly blows at 8 a.m. on March 28th. Failure to appear for weekly testing on March 31. Failure to submit to a soberly blow on April 3rd at 4 p.m. Failure to refrain from consuming alcohol, testing positive on a soberly blow on April 3rd. Failure to submit to a soberly blow at 8 p.m. on April 4th. Failure to submit to another soberly blow at 12 p.m. on April 5th. So, Mr. Kerman, how is he going to proceed?
Your Honor, count 1 is going to be not guilty in part and guilty in part. Count 2 is
Hang on a second, let me make sure I understand. What, all I'm gonna deal with on that, I'm not gonna, these all arrives on the same transaction. Is he pleading guilty to submitting a soberly blow that was positive on March 22nd of 25?
that portion of it is
Not guilty?
yes, that is for the 8 a.m. blow.
Okay.
And then the fail to submit, the subsequent ones would be guilty.
Okay, what about count 2?
That's going to be not guilty, Your Honor.
Why don't we just go, why don't we just have him resolved? Your name?
That's what on all caps, right, Your Honor.
Solemnly swear affirm under penalties of perjury that the testimony you will give at these proceedings will be the whole true self you got.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry, can we just confirm two people are not guilty on counts one,
Go.
just through all of it?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so taking a look at count 1, failed to refrain from consumption and or possession of alcohol. The defendant submitted to soberly blow at 8 a.m. on March 22nd, 2025, with results of 0.079 BAC. Defendant failed to submit to subsequent blows at 8:15 a.m., 8:45 a.m., 9:15 a.m., 9:45 a.m., 10:15 a.m., 10:45 a.m., and 12 p.m. The next blow is at 2:28 p.m. with 0.0 results for BAC. Count 2 failed to submit to soberly blows at 8 a.m. on March 28th. He then failed, count 3 failed to submit to weekly chemical testing at DNA at March 31st, 2025 via DNA. Count 4 failed to submit to soberly blows at 4 p.m. on April 3rd of 2025. Count 5 failed to refrain from consumption or possession of alcohol. The defendant submitted to soberly blows at 5:02 p.m. on April 3rd with results of 0.072 BAC. Defendant failed to submit to subsequent blows at 5:17 p.m., 5:47 p.m., 6:17 p.m., 6:47 p.m., 7:17 p.m., and 7:47 p.m. Next blow was at 8:07 p.m. with 0.0 results for BAC. Count 6 failed to submit to soberly blows at 8 p.m. on April 4th, 2025. Count 7 failed to submit to soberly blows at 12 p.m. on April 5th, 2025.
Do you have any questions over Mr. Kerman?
I would ask with regard to the 3:22, the 8 a.m. on 3:22. That was a Saturday, I believe. If there was a positive blow, does the soberling prompt him for a reblow at a certain time?
Correct. Anytime there's a positive test on a soberling device, it'll always prompt you for a retest, and it'll continue to prompt you for a retest up to 10 times until either the device is negative, or if it continues testing, it'll time out after 10 times of positive testing.
And at what intervals?
I believe the intervals, if I take a look at the times, are 30-minute intervals.
Okay, so if he had a positive blow at 8 a.m., it would have prompted him to retest at 8:30.
Correct.
But here it says still submit to subsequent blows at 8:15, 8:45, and then et cetera in half-hour increments.
Correct. It's generally the half-hour increments on the time for it. Again, we always tell defendants anytime there is a positive test, always submit to the reblows because if it is an environmental factor, those reblows will be zeros if it was an environmental factor.
Okay, so then 15 minutes, but it looks like in this case, that it wasn't prompted after half hours, 15 minutes.
Correct.
Okay, could that be contributed at least in part by environmental factors?
What do you mean by the testing times?
Yeah, for that he was prompted 15 minutes later instead of
I
half
could
hour.
be incorrect about the testing times. The SoberLink device and the SoberTrack have different times on them, so I could be incorrect on the testing times, but it will always reprompt you up to about 10 times generally.
Okay, okay. So that'd be consistent with him blowing zeros at 2:28.
Correct.
Okay. And then also, with that day was a Saturday, well, I guess I should say that for my explanation, not really a question. So the question for that,
Does your client wish to testify?
Yes, I wish to testify.
Raise your right hand and solemnly swear to affirm the penalties of perjury that the testimony you will give in these proceedings be the whole true self you got.
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
All
You
right.
can ask any questions, Mr. Kerr.
yeah, so Mr. Fuller, and again, I'm looking at some of the notes you sent me,
Yes.
So you sent me some feedback and addressed 1 through 7, and I'm looking at that right here, okay? So you said, you didn't drink at all on 3/22,
I did not.
correct? But later that Saturday, you were doing the court to work program,
Yes, sir.
as for this case?
Yes.
Okay, so is that why you failed to submit to those subsequent blows?
Yes.
Do you remember about what time you were doing the court work program?
Corporal program started. The doors opened at 8:15 and I didn't leave until 1:30.
Okay, and what were you doing, in the work program that day?
I was outside doing yard work.
Okay, so you didn't have your sober link with you?
My solar link was in my coat, but it was hotter that day, so I didn't wear my coat. And I didn't have my phone or my watch.
But when the work program was over, you submitted to a blow about 2:28, does that sound right?
Yes, that's the time that I got back to my house.
Okay, have you consumed any alcohol that day
Or I did not.
or the previous night?
No, I did not.
Okay, there's a couple, failed to submit to sober link blows, one was on 3/28, March 28th, one was on, April 3rd. And I believe there was another one on April 3rd that said failed to submit. Were you having any problems with your sober link device?
April 3rd, which one, what day was that?
I don't know offhand.
Well, today's the 17th, so that would have been 2 weeks ago today. From to 2 weeks ago.
And what time was the April 3rd one?
Would have been, well, no. Yes, April, yes, 4 p.m. And also March 28th, 8 a.m.
Yeah, the April 3rd one, 4 p.m. I submitted the test. I missed the 4 p.m. and I submitted at 5. That one was my fault. I woke up too late. I was rushing to get to work. I woke up around 4:30 and I submitted at 5.
For some of the other ones, for the other, some that it says failed to submit, were you having any problems with the device?
Yes, on some of the other ones, I did have problems with the device. It would freeze up or be non-responsive. And I did talk to the SoberLink place, and she called me about the payment. She said sometimes it does that, and I just have to wait a few moments and the device will be responsive again.
Okay, so you say the sober link place was at house arrest?
Yes,
That's where you got it, right? And you talked to a representative from there?
yes, she called me about the payment and I spoke to her then about it.
Okay, about the, I guess, recalibrating the device.
Yeah, she didn't tell me, well, that's what's wrong.
Okay, so in instances where that would happen, would you give it some time and then it would work?
Yeah,
Okay. Mr. Fuller, in the days alleged going back to March 22nd, have you drank any alcohol?
no,
Have you been around any environmental factors that could possibly result in a positive test?
no,
You ever drink any NyQuil or mouthwash or any of that?
I haven't drank NyQuil in my boss.
When you're at work, what hours do you work?
I work from 6 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Okay, and has that resulted in you missing any blows?
Yes, sometimes I don't get a break because I'm team leader and I have to work through my breaks sometimes.
Are you allowed to carry the sober link on your person at work?
No. Yeah, it stays in my locker with my belongings.
And you said you work Monday through Friday, six to five?
Yes.
Okay, as a team leader. That's all the questions I have here.
Any other questions of him?
No, you're.
Any other witnesses?
No, sir?
Any argument?
Just that, especially for court work program, they do allow, all defendants to keep their cell phone device on them for court work program. And again, court work program, he was here on March 22nd for court work program and didn't complete his day here. Again, he did test at 8:30. We require everyone to be here at 8:30, so he tested at 8 a.m. He tested and was tested positive. The device would have prompted him and said to retest. So he still would have had time to retest prior to needing to be inside the courthouse for court work program. And again, the court officers will allow the device on them at all times.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else?
Your Honor, I would just like the court to again know that my client does, I mean, he's got a really good job. He's a team leader. It's Dearborn Park Plan that you can see on his jacket. He recently took in his sister and her 3 young kids living with him. She's here today, as her support. We're asking to give, I know it's asking a lot, Your Honor, but to give another crack. I mean, he'll be on a very short leash, but any incarceration can result in him losing his job.
Court finds you guilty of all 7 counts. Court finds he was consuming alcohol, which gave rise to the test on March 22nd, 25, for the 200.079, and he failed to submit the subsequent blows. The fact that he's telling me that it was hot and he didn't want it in his coat, he didn't have it, didn't have his coat, and therefore the sober link wasn't with him. That's his fault, not ours, not anybody else's. He also failed to submit to a sober link blow, I find, at 8 a.m. on March 28th. Failed to appear for weekly testing on March 31 with DNA. Failed to submit to a sober link blow at 4 p.m. on April 3. Consumed alcohol, giving rise to positive test on April 3rd of 25. And then he failed to submit, ironically again, to all subsequent blows. And then he failed to, and I say ironically, I mean, it's just pretty obvious what's going on here. And then he failed to submit to a sober link blow at 8 p.m. on April 4, and again at 12 p.m. on 5/25. Court finds defendant guilty of all counts. I'm more troubled by it. He's just sitting there and he's giving me all these excuses and he's testifying under oath. And that's a problem. That's a massive problem. It is. It's a big problem. Yeah, I'm looking at you.
No, I'm saying, do you want to speak?
No, I don't. I don't think when to incriminate yourself anymore than what you have. You can't just come in here and say I didn't drink, and give me all these excuses as to why you didn't blow. If you want, I'll put you on the alcohol test. You won't have to worry about it. Why don't you give them a price differential? Do you remember?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Right?
I'm sorry.
It's more.
Yes, it is.
Than the other soda.
And it's more per day as well.
You want to do that? You want to do an alcohol tether? Then you don't have to worry about blowing. You're just going to keep it on all tethers.
Judge, for that alcohol tether, it's gonna be $100, or the tether gets, it's gonna be $100 to roll and it's $10 per day.
You, is it voice?
Yes, yeah, anything.
Listen. Don't come in here and tell me what to think. Run it all. Run it all. This is something. I can forgive mistakes. I can't forgive the sins. I cannot forgive the sins. Why? Under oath. You almost just talked yourself into going to jail. I don't know if I would have done that.
So you gotta take your hat off.
Your Honor, if he's willing to get the tether today, maybe we can put this, schedule this for a sentencing. See how he does with it. If there's any positive readings, the court take that into consideration. And increase his AA appearances as well.
When he pled guilty, when he was found guilty back on February 27th, Can you tell me what that was for? And I'm talking about probation violation.
So that was for testing positive at DNA Center, for,
Oh, and the artificial innocence.
yes.
Okay, well, did you clear all of your warrants? You're supposed to do that by March 3rd. Did you do that?
No, I mean, I didn't have.
You know what? I think I should just come over there and you can come with the robe on and you can make your own decisions here. Are you in treatment?
Yes, sir.
Some help? Scheme on me for not sending you to jail for trying to fraud the testing facility. Realize you just committed perjury? I don't want you to answer that. I don't want you to answer. Do you realize you just committed perjury? I don't want you to answer that. You just committed perjury. You're to pay additional costs of $50. You're to be on a screen tether for state following release from jail. You're to test weekly for 3 months, then bi-weekly. What am I missing? Am I missing anything?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
You're to serve 7 days jail starting right now. 21 days to appeal, 14 days to apply for a quarter.
Your Honor, would you consider letting the weekend, next weekend, so he doesn't lose the job, please?
I don't have anything to do with where they sent him. Brownstown doesn't take weekends. I can't do it.
Brownstown doesn't take weekend prisoners.
Lisa, would Brownstown send him to Flat Rock by chance?
They might. I can double check if you want.
Why don't you check and let me know?
Okay, give me a second.
Your Honor, I know we've made similar weekend take jail
Now, listen,
arrangements before.
honestly, I should give him extra. Don't push him. The guy he's a liar. Don't push me. Have a seat over there and I'll figure out what I'm gonna do. I don't know that I'm even inclined to let you do weekends even if I can.
I appreciate the court's consideration. Thank you.